Early childhood services can make a positive difference to children's mental health and well-being by creating an environment that fosters belonging and connectedness. Belonging and connectedness are enhanced when early childhood services are welcoming and inclusive, and there are clear, accessible opportunities for everyone to contribute and get involved. Belonging has been described as the glue that connects one individual to others, to beliefs and to ideas. Children too develop and grow in the context of these connections. So how can services commit to inclusive practices and begin the journey of helping all members of the early childhood community to belong?
Creating a sense of belonging doesn't come necessarily easily. Sometimes there are challenges in being able to create a sense of belonging. Particularly, for example, if you've got a big service where there are lots of children and families and you're trying to manage very different ways of raising children or responding to different needs. So large groups of children and families offer challenges. All the more reason why in those contexts early childhood educators need to have good systems, good policies, strong philosophies, good communication techniques to be able to communicate with a number of different people about different things at different times.
When early childhood services commit to inclusive practices, it's often much bigger than they first expect, and it is really essential that we see this as a journey. It's not something you can do on one day and it's all sorted. It's a journey that we should be committed to in every way and every day in all the practices that we have in our services. And as things change, as people change, as educators might move on, we get new educators, and families move on, we have new families, new children. We still have to continue to think about the way we approach inclusive practice.
It is a challenge to create a sense of belonging for everybody in a service, every child, every family, in part for an obvious reason, because everybody's unique and everybody's different. And while there are some generic kind of universal things that you can do, welcome signs and a kind of open door policy and having family and community social events. There are a lot of things you can do that are kind of general appeals to children and families to develop that sense of belonging. I think you can do all of those things, but if there isn't an effort to develop those individual, unique, one-to-one relationships, those more generic things aren't going to mean very much. And so in services, I mean, an obvious challenge is if you prioritize relationships and developing a sense of belonging, you've got to give it time. And you've got to give it energy.
Being connected and having a sense of belonging means families know they can seek support when they need it, and that they will be listened to, and that they can work together with educators to help children learn and develop.
And I think some families appear not to want a relationship because they're afraid all they're going to get is bad news. And that's why I think it's so important for educators to give families any positive news, any good news about their child, anything that isn't negative about the child, that says, I value your child, I notice your child is unique, your child is wonderful.
I was talking to a group of educators recently who were concerned about this very thing and thinking, how do we build a better connection with families who are very busy, lead busy lives? And they relocated the sign-in book, the sign-in process, to another part of the room. Now, on the surface of it, you think, well, that wouldn't make much of a difference. But what actually happened as a result of that is that parents, instead of spending 30 seconds in the encounter that they had with their children at arrival, they were invited, because they needed to walk all the way through the room to where the sign-in book was on the other side, and the 30 seconds became 5 minutes.
I think that the way children would feel about being included is that they would feel a sense of belonging, which is what we're all striving for. Children in order for children to learn and to be, they need to have a sense of belonging. And I mean, that's evident in the frameworks and all the things that we're striving to do. But, you know, what does social inclusion look like for a 4-year-old? It's very difficult to define. We talk about it all the time. And I think it looks like a place where this child feels like they are. So it's got stuff around that belongs to them, and there's things in that place that are them. You know, some of the best settings that I've seen have got, you know, photographs of families of educators, families of children, and they're up in A-frames on sideboards, and they look like someone's home, and they look beautiful. And children go up and they're curious, is that your mum? And is that your dog? All those beautiful things, and children exchange that information in their setting, and then they're comfortable.
So I think in the beginning, educators have to work extra hard because the onus is on them to establish the relationship. It's not I don't think it's a 50-50 proposition either obviously with children or with families. I think it's up to educators to demonstrate that they really want to have a relationship and that they want families to feel that sense of belonging.
I think when all of the parts of an early childhood service, all the players, if you like, in an early childhood service feel a strong sense of belonging, people want to be there. They want to rock up, they want to be there, they want to participate. When we ask questions about things, we feel like there's a confidence in that we will be heard and valued in that discussion, and that when difficult things arise, we don't feel afraid of raising those issues or identifying things that are of concern to us.